The Man in the Attic. This story comes from a woman named Claire, who lived alone in a quiet suburban neighborhood. At the time, she was 26 years old, having just moved into her first house. She was excited to finally have a place of her own, until she started hearing strange noises at night. What she thought was just the house settling turned out to be something far more terrifying. The first time Claire heard the noise, she brushed it off. It was late, past midnight, and the house was old. Creaking pipes, shifting wood, maybe even a raccoon on the roof. She had lived alone for almost a year now, and she'd gotten used to the strange sounds an empty house makes at night. But then it happened again. A slow, deliberate thump, not outside, above her. She froze in place, her fingers still hovering over her laptop keyboard. The sound had come from the attic. She stared at the ceiling, heart pounding. Maybe something fell over, a box shifting. But she hadn't been up there in months. She barely even remembered what was in there. Just old furniture, holiday decorations and dust. Claire shook her head. "It's nothing," she muttered to herself. She went to bed, trying to ignore the uneasy feeling creeping up her spine. The next night, the sound came again. Thump, thump, scratch. Claire shot up in bed, her breath caught in her throat. That wasn't the sound of something falling. It was movement. She grabbed her phone and turned on the flashlight, aiming it at the ceiling. Nothing. Everything was still. Her mind raced with possibilities. Maybe an animal had gotten in. A squirrel, a raccoon, or maybe something else. The thought made her stomach turn, but she forced herself to be rational. There has to be an explanation. Still, she barely slept that night. The investigation. The next day, Claire decided to check the attic. She stood beneath the attic hatch in the hallway, gripping the pull string with sweaty fingers. She hesitated. What if she found something or someone? Swallowing hard, she pulled. The attic door creaked open and the foldable ladder extended downward. A musty, stale smell drifted from the darkness above. She climbed up slowly, her phone flashlight cutting through the dust-filled air. Boxes were stacked haphazardly. An old rocking chair sat in the corner. Nothing seemed out of place. Then her light passed over something that made her blood run cold. A blanket, a half-empty water bottle, crumbs. Someone had been living up here. Claire's breath hitched. She stepped back, heart hammering in her chest. She needed to leave. Now, but then. A floorboard creaked. From the shadows, something shifted. A pair of pale, unblinking eyes stared at her. Claire screamed, nearly falling off the ladder as she scrambled down. She didn't stop. She ran, bolting for the front door, yanking it open and sprinting outside. She called the police with shaking hands. The truth is worse than the nightmare. When the officers arrived, they searched the attic. What they found sent shivers down Claire's spine. A sleeping bag, empty food wrappers, a small knife, and worst of all, a trapdoor. It led down into the walls of her house, a hidden crawl space that ran between the walls, just wide enough for a person to squeeze through. For weeks, maybe even months, someone had been watching her, listening to her, moving through her home when she wasn't looking. She had never been alone. The police never found the man. But sometimes, late at night, when Claire lies in bed, she swears she can still hear it. A faint, slow thump coming from the attic, or worse, from inside the walls.